Welcome to this discussion session. So, we got this latest segment, Sachs is Back, where Professor Jeffrey Sachs dives into why the West apparently has a penchant for war.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. What exactly is Sachs arguing about?
Well, he's laying out this idea that the established Western powers might be um, deeply motivated by economic, political, and strategic interests to engage in conflicts.
Right, right. And this is mixed with Judge Napolitano's perspective, isn't it?
Exactly. The segment also brings in Napolitano, who, as you know, has these pointed critiques of Western policies. He's been known to call out overreaches, and, well, sometimes he questions Sachs's assumptions on
Yeah.
intent. It's sort of an ideological crossfire.
So basically, we've got this clash between academic analysis and legal judicial critique, huh?
Precisely. And you see,
Yeah.
Sachs, with his academic background, offers a historical and economic lens, discussing how wars often serve as catalysts or tools for reshaping global policies and markets.
That's intriguing. War as a sort of reconfigurator of the world order. But do you think he actually makes a strong case?
Well, it's like he puts forward examples where conflicts have historically, paved the way for greater economic control or to distract public opinion. It's not without its critics, though.
True, but Judge Napolitano often seems to question whether Sachs might be oversimplifying the motivations behind such wars.
Right, and that's a fair point. It's like sometimes when you frame complex geopolitical decisions under the banner of war for profit or war for influence, you might be missing some of the
Yes.
nuances. There's nuance, definitely.
And that critique, it's essential for a balanced discussion. So, what did they highlight about this particular week's news?
They zeroed in on some unprecedented developments. The video details breaking news events that, as Sachs sees it, fit into this broader pattern of Western aggression. It was like very timely in context.
Yeah, tying current events into the historical narrative. But isn't that a bit presumptive depending on how you view global politics?
Well, I mean, it's definitely provocative. Sachs uses it to argue that the current environment is not an anomaly, but part of a cycle we've seen before.
Right.
Cycles of conflict for underlying interests.
And Judge Napolitano, from his end, seems to want to pivot the focus towards questioning how these systemic forces are being misinterpreted as mere power grabs rather than unavoidable consequences.
Exactly. It's like there's tension between seeing these actions as predetermined outcomes of global power dynamics and, well, deliberate choices by policymakers.
Yeah, indeed. It's also worth noting the production style. This was streamed live, right? How do you think that live element affects the discussion?
The live aspect really ramps up the energy. There's this immediacy that forces both Sachs and Napolitano to react in real time to questions from a live audience. It adds a kind of rawness to it all.
Yeah, and seeing those live chat reactions, it gives another layer of accountability or pressure, don't you think?
Absolutely. And while the production might be slick on one hand, it also opens things up to, misinterpretations, particularly given the
Yeah,
heated
that's a
nature
risk.
of the topic, especially when you're dealing with such polarizing subjects.
I'm curious though, did Sachs give any solid examples of wars or interventions that fit this pattern?
Yes, he mentioned historical parallels, though sometimes in a rather general sense. For example, he pointed to how strategic conflicts have often led to significant geopolitical realignments, drawing on, say, post war economic booms.
Fair enough. But isn't there a risk of oversimplifying like complex trade-offs and political maneuverings by reducing them to this single narrative?
That's a valid challenge. I mean, it's like if you boil down centuries of history to a neat, tidy explanation, you
Right,
might leave
exactly.
out vital details. There's always that tension between narrative and nuance.
Yeah, and I appreciate that Judge Napolitano seems to push back a bit on that, asking for more concrete evidence rather than sweeping statements.
Exactly. He insists on specifics, and while Sachs brings a robust theoretical framework, sometimes the debate tilts into, more rhetoric than hard data.
That's true. So, given all this, how do you think the audience is reacting? Are they leaning more towards Sachs's narrative or Napolitano's caution?
Well, judging by the live chat and the viewership numbers, 186K views streaming, and a lively comment section, there's a pretty diverse audience. Some are totally in Sachs's camp, while others really vibe with the judicial skepticism of Napolitano.
Yeah, indeed. It seems like the discussion is tapping into deep-seated frustrations with current international policies, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's like this isn't just about one conflict, it's reflective of a broader disillusionment with what many see as a continuous pattern in Western foreign policy, kind of a cycle of aggressive foreign interventions.
And that cycle arguably has far-reaching consequences, especially in terms of human costs and economic burdens.
Precisely. Sachs argues that the West, by perpetuating these conflicts, often leaves behind, a trail of devastation for local populations. It's a sobering
Right.
reminder that there are real lives affected by these abstract strategies.
But don't you think Sachs's tone might be a bit one-sided? That he perhaps overemphasizes the deliberate nature of war making?
Yes, and that's where the critique comes in. It's like, while his argument is compelling, some might argue that he's painting the West with too broad a brush,
I
questioning
see
whether
what you
every
mean.
conflict fits cleanly into that framework.
Exactly, because sometimes internal politics, unforeseen events, or even miscommunications play big roles too.
Right. So, in a sense, while Sachs gives us a grand theory, the reality on the ground can be so much messier.
Sure, absolutely. And that critical perspective is key to um, ensuring we don't fall into a trap of accepting any single explanation, no matter how elegantly presented.
Definitely. It's like trying to solve an enormous puzzle where every piece matters, and ignoring just one can distort the whole picture. Really puts
Yeah,
things
that's
into
a great
perspective.
analogy. So, to wrap it up, it sounds like this episode is sparking a lot of um, important dialogues about power, war, and accountability in the West, all while keeping the conversation lively and compelling.
Exactly. It's a reminder that when it comes to serious topics like these, we need to engage with both the grand narratives and the minute details. Thanks for
Absolutely.
the insightful chat.
Thank you too. Catch you on the next round of discussions on the big issues.